welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Vintage at the request of Patreon subscriber Claire, and this is Rug Oath. As always, a Claire League starts out with a shout out for trans rights, and this time also trans wrongs. Stonewall started with a brick. Stay safe out there. As for the deck itself, Oath of Druids, a deck I have a lot of history with, going back to Eternal Weekend Top 8, winning NYSE, going back years and years. I've played a lot of builds of Oath over the many years I've been playing Vintage, and we still have that. 4 Oaths, 3 Forbidden Orchards to turn it on, so there's already a hint that we're not quite all the way in on the combo here. Not playing 4 Orchards tells a story that we want to see it often, but not every game. 3 copies of Atraxa, which is fine because there's only 1 show and tell. That 4th Atraxa in the list, not as good if you can't shove it out of your hand. There's no flash in this deck either. There is 1 Gaia's Blessing, so we can Oath around and around forever. Those 3 Atraxas will just keep coming out. And what we're doing instead of more show and tells, more flashes, more Atraxas is there's a control plan. Wrenn and 6. A card I've also top 8'd Eternal Weekend with in my deck. Plus to return target land from your graveyard to your hand. That's really good in formats with Wasteland and Strip Mine available. That's a whole thing this deck can do just on its own. If your opponent's worried about Oath and afraid to apply any pressure, you can strip block them out with Wrenn and 6 instead. Eventually you can Emblem, and then you could kill them with Lightning Bolt or cast Stock Up over and over again, cast Ancestral over and over again, whatever, you'll figure it out from there. There's a copy of Narset in this deck. This is usually a little too slow and a little too off message for an all-in show and tell Oath deck. It's cool that we got room for it here. And a big pile of Elemental Blasts and a Null Rod in the main to help fend off combo. Faster combo is always Oath's biggest problem. We're really good against creatures. That's the Dimir and Esper Luris decks of the format. That's the White Initiative. That's Sphere Shops. There's a lot of great matchups for Oath of Druids around, but there's also some pretty bad ones, which is why we have so many main deck slots dedicated to something like Paradoxical Outcome. This deck is a lot of Oath, a little bit Rug control with Wrenn and 6. Let's see if this hybrid take on this Vintage archetype is any good. It's time for Rug Oath. I'm on the draw against a non-Luris in round 1. Opponent kept 7. I think I am going to keep this. I have Wrenn and 6 on turn 2. I have Force of Will to stay alive. We'll see what my opponent's up to over there. A basic island in a deck with no Luris. And Ponder. Ponder really signals to me that this is Doomsday. Decks that have Island but not Luris is like a Tezzeret combo deck of some kind. There's usually 1 basic Island in Jewel Shops. But I think this is Doomsday because those other 2 decks don't play Ponder. The bad news is this matchup's horrible. The good news is I do at least have Force Will in my hand to make a fight out of it. I'm going to bin Boseiju. I can pick it up with Wrenn next turn, if that's what we're really doing. This could be some generic blue Tinker deck that has some number of Ponder in it. If they're in the brew space where they're just doing something or other and their list has some Ponders, then they're going to have a little brews advantage here. I'm going to operate as if they're Doomsday until further notice. All right, no way I care about Pithing Needle. Blind name Wrenn and 6. Boseiju Who Endures. Okay. All right, maybe they are some Tinker deck if that's something they care about. I can play Wrenn and 6 here and ping the Spirit. That buys me a turn, and Boseiju in my hand doesn't matter now. All right, green, red, Wrenn and 6 on the stack. It's a shame that I've drawn 2 Orchards here in the deck that already hedges against drawing Orchard by only playing 3. This Wrenn and 6 into Narset rollout is actually very comfortable, but if their board is full of 1/1s that I gave them that can pressure my Planeswalkers, it's less comfortable. They're thinking really hard about this Wrenn. Force pitching Dig. I think I want Force of Will in my hand. Like, if I fight over that, win a fight over Wrenn and 6, and then they just cast Tinker next turn, I'm a clown. but I have 20 life to work with versus the spirit. I'll try to figure that out some other way. Yeah, Time Vault or Tinker strategy would make sense to turn off Beseiju. We're down to 2 cards in hand that force pitch to dig through time. Alright, just Esper something or other. Time Twister. I don't really want that to happen. I'm going to force pitching Atraxa here. Yikes. Alright, well, it's happening anyway. Narset, I miss you. Okay, so they had a bunch of counter spells in hand. That's fine. Twisting, fresh 7s for both of us. I got a lot of juice here. Can they keep going? Ancestral Recall. I'm not going to fight over that, as they either have to dump out a bunch of artifacts or end up going to discard here. They did have some artifacts. The classic Time Twister is pretty sweet, actually. I actually appreciate that a lot, just playing out your cards faster than me than twisting us both. No Bowmaster, no Hull Breacher, no tricks, just I draw 7, but you draw 4. This Time Walk's interesting. Alright, so they Mystical Tutored Time Walk to the top of the deck, then Brainstormed. Do I want to give them another whole turn here with 2 forces, or do I want to get a turn while they don't have force? It mostly comes down to how good I think Vexing Bauble's going to be. I think I'm going to let them walk here. I have double force, they have 6 cards in hand. I don't, like, if I had an Oath to deploy or something, I'd be more interested in getting a turn to try to get something going, but I really don't. All my hand is Force of Wills, and going to my turn and playing Wrenn and 6 doesn't really change the math there. Narset. No. Force pitching Probe on that one. Flusterstorm. Can't pay for that. Force pitching Dig on Narset. Alright, now I'm all in. Usually the deck that has Time Twister in it is better at leveraging 7 fresh cards than the deck that doesn't. Strip Mine. They're going to take out my Hedge Maze. Make me give them spirits if I'm going to cast spells. Alright, well, I'm going to cast spells. I'm going to get Tropical Island and play Wrenn and 6. If I minus Wrenn now, they attack Wrenn down to 1. And I don't have a land in my hand if they just kill it outright. If I plus Wrenn now, they can attack Wrenn down to 2. Alright, yeah, it's mostly the same. I'm going to get my Scalding Tarn back. Alright, well, our shields are down, but we just got to hope that they're not really full of gas over there. Hull Breacher. Okay, so they're a dedicated wheel deck of some variety. Hull Breacher is very good. Wrenn and 6 is dead. I'm glad I bought back the land while I could. Honestly, this game, if this Forbidden Orchard had just been Volcanic Island, I would feel totally fine. Like, Wrenn would survive this turn. They'd have just Hull Breacher applying pressure. Now I have to stock up and give them another creature, unless I draw exactly Oath. Yeah, this is not going great, but I will cast this stock up and try to combo out at some point. There's an Oath and a Lotus. Well, I mean, that's my plan out of this game. Black Lotus, sack for green, play Vexing Bauble. They can hardcast a force, but I'm going to at least try to put my shields up. Okay, I have presented the one thing that I could do. If they can remove Oath, I'm dead in 2 hits. And F6, pass. Go to 6. Time Walk's already in the graveyard. Your own Vexing Bauble, sure. They'll probably just draw a card off that right away. Okay, they're letting me Oath. Yes, give me that Atraxa. I have not seen my Time Walk yet. Okay, we've got Oko as my Planeswalker, Oath as my enchantment, Ruby is my artifact. Red Blast can kill Hull Breacher, but do I care about that? I mean, yes, that's better than Force of Will on this board. Stock Up is my sorcery, and I will take the other Wasteland. That was a really good Atraxa. It's plus 1,000,000. Oh, it's even better. Wasteland, waste the Academy, and then Time Walk. Best card in my deck. Are we bringing it back? Okay, I'll go to my next turn. I am going to Oath again. We have the Gaia's Blessing. There's 1 Atraxa left in my deck, because I pitched 1 to Force earlier. I'll keep the original. There's Gaia's Blessing. Okay. Null Rod, Wrenn and 6, stock up, Lightning Bolt, land. Keep all these. I might have to just Oath into nothing next turn to shuffle my deck back together. Wasteland, take out the white, I think. Get my life total back. I mean, we're doing it, team. The stock up finding Black Lotus. basically did it all. And I guess I just want to Null Rod here, make sure they can't wiggle out of this. If they sack their Vexing Bauble, I might do the same. Though, if Null Rod resolves, it doesn't matter if Ruby's in play. Yeah, I don't think I want Force of Wills to be part of this game. That resolves. I could bolt the Hull Breacher now, but I think I'd rather have Red Blast up. Yeah, I'm just going to discard 3 cards. Ruby, Oath, and I'm not casting Brainstorm with Hull Breacher in play. That's a safe one to get rid of. They're at exactly 7. Ponder's allowed to resolve. Heck yeah, Oath. Always gets you eventually. Okay, we're playing against some sort of dedicated Narset Hull Breacher wheel deck. Running Volley can kill Hull Breacher, no questions asked. A shame this doesn't hit Narset. Printed before we were really dealing with Planeswalkers with everything. I like Force of Negation. I like the Null Rods. Running Volley's honestly a maybe. I have Lightning Bolt and 3 Red Elemental Blasts in my main deck already. I don't think I need that. Mindbreak Trap could help me survive turn 1. Okay, what's less good here? This build is pretty tight on slots. Maybe I play without the Show and Tell. I could shave one of my Moxen. Like if I just shave Ruby, because I'm going to have 3 Null Rods in the deck. I'm going to try to make that what the game is about. And both players have Vexing Bauble. I like my Narset if that's what they're doing too. Maybe I'll shave the Emerald too. Like I'm going to keep at least some power so I have a nut draw available. Do I need all my Atraxes? I just cut a Show and Tell. Yeah, I think I can play with 2 Atraxes with this build. Let's try it out. Okay, this is why you leave 1 piece of power in your deck. I'll keep. I can force something pitching Oko and then have a really big turn 1. Sea, Pearl, Demonic Tutor. I'm just letting that resolve. Let them think they can do whatever they want here. I think if they play Black Lotus after this Demonic Tutor, I will Force of Negation that, because Hull Breacher makes my Ancestral Recall pretty bad, and I can't force that, though that does turn on Oath. Maybe it's worth it to have it in play. I'll just see what they do. Ball's in their court. I can also cast Ancestral Recall on my turn. Like if they just Demonic and pass, I can Black Lotus, land, crack for blue, Ancestral myself. If they fight, hardcast Force. If they don't fight, then fetch for a green land and play Oath. Or just play Oko. If Oko elks their Mox Pearl, it gives them a creature that can trigger my Oath next turn while also denying them mana. I'm pretty into that, actually. Okay. They just passed. Wow. Null Rod's interesting. Alright. I think my new plan is Black Lotus, Ancestral, Null Rod, Waste You. I'm not even going to fight if they fight over this, because that's something they don't have for the Null Rod. Okay, that just happened. Now I can protect my Null Rod with Force. Alright, no mana, go. That was fun. We'll see if it works. We either just completely ended the game or didn't do anything. Those are basically the outcomes here. Alright, Tolarian Academy is good. That might be what the Demonic was for. 2 blue mana, no cards in, or 4 cards in hand. Alright, well, let's fight over this one. That does matter. Ugh. Okay. Pretty good last couple cards to have. I am a deck full of Wastelands, though. If I draw a Wasteland or Strip Mine, we're in business. Ataxian Probe. Tell me your secrets. What's going on over there? Mox Sapphire Tundra, so they can play Jace the Mind Sculptor next turn, except that I just cantripped into Wasteland. That was good timing. They just went from 4 mana to 1. Tundra, Ponder. The Academy being dead gives me a lot of relaxation here. Shuffled the Ponder. Hedge Maze, I was going to fetch that this turn anyway. I do not need another Oath. I barely want the one that I have. Just passing. Alright, I will cast Oath. If this is worth Force of Will to them, deal. If it's not, also deal. Now if I draw Forbidden Orchard ever, we do it. If Oko resolves, we do it. Alright, now we don't do it anymore. Alright, now that doesn't matter. Fighting over Oko just became more important. It will cost them Force of Will for me to cast this thing. I'm going to spend a turn sculpting, just knowing that they have the answer. I'm not that interested in jamming into it. I have both Surveil lands in my deck. Thundering Falls. Mock Sapphire to the bin. Those are the two artifacts that left in my deck. I'm now clear of Null Rod. Force of Negation. When I get to 6 mana, which I'm not far away from, I can protect Oko. There's the Sapphire. They were about to discard to hand size anyway. Dig through time. That might be good enough for their Force of Will. I'm going to play it on their end step. I do have the resources to dig and play Oko at the same time. Does Flusterstorm get me here? 1, 2, 3. No, I can pay for Fluster. But I'm leaving a Wasteland and Ancestral Recall in my graveyard for Wrenn and 6. If they Force of Will, I'll Force of Negation. If they have another counter, I'll untap and play Oko, and hopefully that wins the game. Force pitching Mystical Tutor. Fetch. Drop. This does get got by Flusterstorm, but that's fine. I'll make you have it. Force of Negation. Force of Will. What did that pitch? Dak Faden. All right, Jace the Mind Sculptor is still in the hand. All right, did our battle pay off? Oko. Sick. I'm going to play another Null Rod. Okay. Now I can attack with this one without Null Rod losing all its abilities. Oath will trigger for them, but they have Grafdigger's Cage. They could use it as a massive self-mill. Like, they could just mill cards till they hit a Hull Breacher and then draw Hull Breacher for turn, but I don't think they're in a position to do that. All right, yeah, they just declined the Oath. No surprise there. And it's my turn again. Stock up. Let's go. We love stocking up. Oath, stock up Treasure Cruise. I'll take stock up and Treasure Cruise. Oko is going to make a food. I can Treasure Cruise here, leaving a Wasteland in the graveyard. I'm going to do that. Oh, no, I can't. All right, yes, I can. I'll pay the extra mana. All right, cool. They've had enough. Nice. And Null Rod plus Wasteland is a combo. A lot of decks just run out of mana at some point. And this game went into garbage time for a while, but I was hitting land drops and they weren't. Nice. That was a fun round 1. I'm pretty sure we just beat a matchup that's going to be tough. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play for round 2. No lures from the opponent. This is one of those Oath hands that you just have to take a second to appreciate. Not a single card that's close to being cast, and even if there was, this hand would probably still be terrible. At least we were awarded the one of Show and Tell to go with the double Atraxa. Mulligan that. Ugh. This hand functions. If I knew what deck I was against, I would consider it, but I don't. So I'm going to try to be a Broken Vintage deck. Okay. This one at least works. I'm going to get rid of Lightning Bolt and probably have to get rid of one of the Red Blasts. Okay, I'm going to go Scalding Tarn, Mock Sapphire, and pass. So, if this is Initiative, I want Oath in play. If this is Sphere Shops, I want Oath in play. If it's Jewel Shops, I'd rather have Red up. Alright, I'm going to play the Oath. There is a spread of matchups where this makes sense. There's also not a Taiga in the deck, so I have to commit here to giving up on Red Blast by making this play. Force of Negation pitching Thassa's Oracle. Okay, so we're against Doomsday. This is why they play 2 of those, so they can pitch one if they need to. Atraxa, yeah, you love to see it. Just the draw I was looking for. But we're on a mull to 5. What do you want from me? Consider. It's interesting that Doomsday cared about Oath of Druids this early. This is a deck that can completely ignore it. Ponder. I don't think they're going to have 2 basic islands. Wasteland will find something off this Flooded Strand. If the game is still going at that point. Hey! You cared about the first one. Do you care about this one? It's not even good. So I'm happy to take a Hymn to Tarak here while nothing else is happening. Okay. We got a Force Ponder out of their hand. All right, here's the fetch. We're going to see Underground Sea. There it is. Demonic Tutor. This could be getting the Doomsday or could be getting the Lotus to cast the Doomsday they already have. Those are basically the options. Red mana? Cool. All right. I'm going to Wasteland. They obviously have a plan around this because they fetched into it, but I'm going to do it. It's the play that I have. Treasure Cruise. Well, I'm not sure if Red Blast is going to get much better than this. Counter target blue spell. Mental Misstep. All right. Hand chock full of free permission. But that does explain why they countered the Oaths if their hand is just like force, Mental Misstep with no action. Okay, Gaia's Blessing. Target player shuffles 3 cards from their graveyard into their library and draw a card. You basically never, ever want to draw this, but it is a cantrip in a spot where I'm not doing anything. The problem with drawing this is that there's not another way to get it back into your deck, which means the unlimited Oath loop doesn't play anymore. All right, do I care about their graveyard or my own? Theirs. I'm going to shuffle away all of their cards. They just cast a Treasure Cruise. There's a Dig Through Time in their deck somewhere. There's a Dig Through Time in my deck somewhere. All right, the third Oath of the game. There are exactly 2 Atraxas and no more coming left in my deck here. Ancestral Recall. Are they still going to miss the land drop? That would be great. Cycling Street Wraith. Cycling Street Wraith. Cycling Street Wraith. I've successfully dealt with half of their life total, and I haven't done anything. And they haven't found the land. Discarded Doomsday and Flusterstorm. I would rather resolve Wrenn and 6 here, which means I'm going to go with Oath first. There's a good chance there's another force over there. I'd like to see it gone. There it goes. Force Pitching Ponder. Wrenn and 6 is actually a viable move the game forward option here. I suspect they have Dark Ritual in their hand, and they just need any black source to go it. You redrew your Treasure Cruise already? Oh, I guess it does shuffle, right? It doesn't go to the bottom. All right, well, remember 1 turn ago when they didn't have a graveyard at all, and now they've resolved Treasure Cruise immediately afterwards? Undercity Sewers. Enters tapped. That's big. They just probed me, so they know about the Wrenn. All right, please resolve? Question mark. Wow. I didn't think that to actually happen. Wasteland. Waste that Undercity Sewer. All right, go. Weird game, but we're in it. Mox Sapphire is not a black source. Oh my goodness. Time Walk. That card's really good with Wrenn and 6 emblem. If you didn't know, that's literally Time Vault. Vault Key is the same thing as Wrenn Walk. Okay, I'm gonna plus targeting Scalding Tarn. I'm gonna go for Walk. See if they care about that, but now that I have a Planeswalker ticking up, it's kind of good. I could pay for a Pierce or a Fluster. They tapped a land and then quickly untapped it. All right, we're walking. I'll get the Surveil land. I'll go Thief of Grounds. I'll put that on top of my deck. That's a win condition. Plus Wrenn, get back Scalding Tarn again. That brief tap untap makes me think they do have a soft counter. And I'm playing around Spell Pierce by doing this, even though I would rather play the Surveil land. Bulking the Mox, I don't think that's what I want to do. They're at 6. I want to attack them for 3 twice. That's my plan. And they can't Doomsday Pass anymore. Though I can't imagine 7 cards in hand they would need to pass. Oh shit, we're probably dead now. Yeah, there's the Dark Ritual. Then they Doomsday, then they do literally anything. I guess here I could have bought back Wasteland instead of Scalding Tarn with Wrenn and 6. That still pays for Oko. And I could Wasteland them now with Doomsday on the stack, which turns off Gush. Yeah, I think I blew it. There's at least like a tiny little thing I could have done there. Unfortunately, all it takes is a Ponder, a Preordain, a Street Wraith, like anything to change that. But I could have at least made Gush not an option. Doomsday resolved, and only 29 cards went to exile because they had already exiled the other half of their deck from various other things. Yeah, Time Walk gets it done. That was just in their hand. Yeah, these are all cards I would expect in Doomsday. Nothing surprising here. There's Gush. They could have just built a different pile if they had the Time Walk. Or Time Walked into... They put Underground Sea in the pile, walk into it, and then Gush from there. But yeah, it was definitely 100% wrong to not have Wasteland available. Okay. A weird game. mull to 5 against one of our worst matchups, and it still might have come down to a mistake. Consign to Memory, Force of Negation, Mindbreak Trap, Null Rod I don't care about, Lightning Bolt I don't really care about. It would have killed them that game. They did Doomsday down to 3, but that's not what we're actually doing here. Ren at 6 was really good, though that's not entirely what this matchup's about. I think I'm going to shave one Ren. I could shave Boseiju. That doesn't do much against them. I could bring in Show and Tell and try to get going from my hand against this creatureless deck, but I think I want the Oaths to do the thing. Okay. This is what I'm doing. Okay, I will keep. It's a little bit interactive. I have the piece that I want. I have the Oath. I'm going to pass and fetch the Surveil Land if I don't have to Red Blast right away. I think I am going to Red Blast this, actually. They might just be setting up a functional turn 1 Doomsday here. Like they just go to their next turn, play a Swamp, and cast Doomsday. Show and Tell. All right. Brainstorm. Find some juice. Well, that's juice. Put 2 back. Ruby. Orchard. Oath. There it is. Well, I've presented my combo. Do you have yours? I've shown you my combo. Please respond. Dark Ritual. Casting off the Underground Sea is interesting rather than the Mox. I assume I'm just dead, but that was likely a small misoptimization. Yeah, they need to just literally draw 1 card any way possible, and they win. And this is why Oath is so weak versus faster combo decks, because when those decks do their thing, they win. I just did my thing, and my reward is next turn, I get a 7/7 who draws some cards, and then over the next several turns, I need those cards to survive long enough that I can overcome your combo. And even if like Atraxa triggers twice and they take 14, they could still combo in that 3rd turn. Yeah, Brainstorm will do it. Yeah, they just need like Gush, Black Lotus, any sequence here. There's the Lotus. Ancestral Recall gets them to 0 and puts Thassa's Oracle into play. Consider. Wait, what just happened? We got a friendly sounding GG in the chat, and then they stacked their pile wrong. Never scoop. Here it goes. Oh my god. I might still lose this game, but all right. So is Time Walk in the graveyard? I get to stack Atraxa or Blessing, and I want Atraxa first if Time Walk's not here, and I want Atraxa second if it is. All right, Time Walk is not in my graveyard. There's a million forces in there, though, and a Consign. Those are all good cards. Time Walk's better. I'm going to Atraxa first, and then we'll shuffle everything away. Okay, Time Walk, we got there. Time Walk, Oko, Force of Will, Oath. I don't want Atraxa. Or I have Show and Tell. No, but if they get to put in Thassa's Oracle, that's bad. All right, done. My deck shuffles in. Time Walk. I can protect it with Force. Okay. And this isn't like an exploit with Magic Online. Like I'm not playing to the clock or anything. This is, they genuinely fucked up. And so did I, because I forgot to Atraxa again. Hopefully, yeah, I was supposed to tap Forbidden Orchard. Whoops. Force blue card, force blue card. Does that beat what they're doing? I hope so. Put you to 1. That means they can't Force of Will. Yeah, I was definitely supposed to give them another Spirit, but okay, your turn. They can't force me back here. Force pitching, Show and Tell. Demonic Consultation resolves. 1 card in hand, there's nothing it could be. All right, wow. All right, sweet, sweet. That's why you play it out. Okay. We're getting a game 3 that we probably should not. Does anything change? I didn't even look at their Doomsday Exile pile because I thought I was dead. I was just like already talking about why this matchup's terrible. And so now I don't know how they sideboarded. Another mistake. I kind of like this Lightning Bolt, but also I don't like it more than any of the cards I'm already playing. All right, let's go. No interaction. No combo. I'm going to mulligan. This is messy. If my opponent's on a slow start, Wasteland, set up a Time Walk kind of thing could be good. They kept 6. I'm actually going to try this, and maybe this is suicide, but I have to play, like, I have to give myself a chance to play the game, and that might involve just kind of hoping I get a turn. They led on that tapped land. Got a Black Lotus. I am going to run that out there. I'm not going to walk, though. That doesn't really do anything. But in case I need to randomly Red Blast here, at least that backstop is up. Thundering Falls. Dump Scalding Tarn. Don't need that. We're getting closer to dig through time. There are multiple things happening here. End step Ancestral. All right, smell you later, Black Lotus. You tried, buddy. All right, force pitching dig. They get to reload. I can time walk into dig through time here if I don't find something better to do. Okay, Tropical Island, time walk. All right, that's worth a Flusterstorm. I'll take it. Gitaxian Probe, hard cast. I don't think I agree with that. Like, in this deck, there's so many powerful cards you could hit, and it's not really the difference between 16 and 18 life doesn't mean anything. Like, that mana has got to be worth more than 2 life, just even on the spec of hitting something important. Demonic Tutor. All right, we know my opponent's hand is good now. They've got triple black and whatever card they want from their deck. If they had the Doomsday, now they have the Force. If they have the Force, now they have the Doomsday. Red Blast. That could be useful. Right now, if I play Dig Through Time, it costs me my Time Walk, which is really important if this game goes any longer. If I Red Blast something on their turn and then can dig my way out, then I can keep Time Walk. This might be greedy, but I have to take risks. I'm pretty far behind. Necropotence. Wow, that's not Doomsday. All right, I guess I'm digging through time here. See you later, Time Walk. And I gave them the opportunity to Flusterstorm. Good job, me. Ugh. All right. Yeah, this went as poor as it could, and it's almost entirely my fault. I think I have to emergency brainstorm here. All right. Yeah, I did not play that great. Might get away with it, but I did not play that great. Force the Necro, pitching Consign, and Oath is on top of my deck. Did we do it? Through no fault of my own. Ka-chow, go. We can still lose. Again, the same thing I was saying last game about their combo wins immediately and mine just flips the 7/7 into play. There's no Time Walk in my deck anymore. I gotta do this fair and square. Like right now, if their hand is Doomsday, Ponder, they can win. Well, they have the Doomsday and a fetch land, so they're going to put a land into the pile, or they might just be out of fetchables if they only play 4 Underground Sea. Undercity Sewer can go in. That can clear 2 cards out of the pile. Ancestral Recall on top, or in there. Yeah, if they just have Street Wraith or anything to start this, we've probably lost. I guess my hope is that they don't have a basic island in the deck, and this Misty Rainforest can't actually fetch anything. Basic Island went to exile. That's interesting. Do they have more than one, or is their plan to pass the turn no matter what? Because they have to draw a card somehow, and then that card has to cast Ancestral Recall somehow. Okay, getting in. All right, here we go. We get an Oath Trigger. Traxa, Ancestral Recall. That's a powerful weapon in this matchup. Is Vexing Bauble any good? Well, there's a land here. I can lock that. Unfortunately, everything I want here is an instant. Treasure Cruise is a sorcery. Vexing Bauble is an artifact. Do I want Ancestral or Red Blast? If I Red Blast their Ancestral, that could get me a turn to just attack them. Ancestral can also kill them if they get caught slipping with only 2 cards in their deck. I think I want the Red Blast. All right, this is what I've got. Hand drew a Force. Not going to complain about that one. Okay, so what I want to do here is dig through time or Treasure Cruise and exile cards that I don't want to see again off of my next Atraxa. Treasure Cruise, land, Oath, Ren, Show and Tell. I guess they're the 7. Right now I have so many forces in my hand, I'm not even sure if I should play this Vexing Bauble. Right, Force, play Bauble, crack Bauble, Red Blast you. So I can... Alright, I am going to play the Bauble. I can crack it and still play all the cards. And this turns off things like Gush and Black Lotus out of them. Okay. razor tight. They said in the chat, selecting Red Elemental Blast sealed their fate. I hope that's true. Red Elemental Blast or Ancestral Recall. And it looks like I'm going to get a turn. I will remember to float mana this time, so I get another Atraxa. Make a blue. And we got the GGs. Okay, so they did mess up a pile, which is something that can happen. And just let them play it out. We got away with a really tough matchup here. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3. Aluris has been revealed, which is a shame because my hand is nuts against Aluris if I have a green mana, which I don't. I think I have to mulligan this. Ugh. I mean, this isn't Atraxa. I'm going to keep in bottom. So this is actually interesting. If they are Aluris control, Null Rod is a complete worthless hunk of crap in my deck. If they are PO, it's one of the best cards I could have. What's the alternative? Do I just ship this Oath to the bottom and hope that turn 1 Atraxa makes it happen? Yeah, I'm bottoming Oath or Null Rod here. I think it's Null Rod. All right, yeah, I'm just going to bottom the Rod. And Aluris Control is more popular than PO right now, and I think it's better. Did I say I was on the draw? Apparently I'm on the play. Maybe I did say that. I don't know. Here we go. It's even better when I'm on the play. All right, I'll put Atraxa in. Opponent gets to put something in. Hopefully they don't have Dress Down. Okay, it is probably a combo version of Aluris, if that's a card they have. This is a pretty bad Atraxa. All right, Cataxian Probe, Oath of Druids. As much as I want Bosh'nu, I think I just have to take one of these fetch lands so I can actually play the game. Yeah, 3 cards, 7 lands to the bottom. Yuck. All right, I mean, I am playing the game, though, and I get to see what my opponent's up to. Wow, how about that Null Rod, folks? Aluris Breach is the name of the game over there. There are no lands in this hand. All right, I will pass. I have an Atraxa in play. Mox Emeralds in. Black Lotus. I think I might force this. Yeah, I'm going to force this because I know this Vexing Bauble is in hand, and if my opponent just doesn't get any traction, I think that's better for me. Underground Sea, so they can still play Stock up here. But now I have a target for Wasteland. Against Breach, again, here we are against a faster combo deck, and they have both Breach and Lotus ready to go. I'm a brain freeze away from losing this game. Pearl, and we know Vexing Bauble, Breach are in hand. There's Bauble. Okay. Would I rather have green or red here? I'm going to get one of the Surveil lands. They're all blue. Green gets me potentially Bosh'nu and Wrenn and 6. Red gets me Red Elemental Blast. I'm not going to play Oath because I have more creatures than my opponent. I will get the Thundering Falls. Wrenn and 6. That card's not helpful here. Time Walk, Time Walk, Time Walk, Time Walk. Force of Will, also not super helpful. Attack. Wasteland. Anything I can do to deny my opponent anything here is, I think, what I'm supposed to be doing. Didn't hop in the upkeep, which might mean there's already a plan to spend the mana. Breach and 1 unknown in hand. There's no red mana, though. Cracked Vexing Bauble. Force is on if I find a blue card to go with it. Demonic Tutor. We are dead next turn, though they need red mana. We might be dead now. If they get Mox Ruby, play Breach, cast Black Lotus from the graveyard, use Black Lotus to cast Brain Freeze. If their hand, if the 1 unknown is a perfect, then we're dead. Like Lotus Petal would have done it there too. Gotta assume I'm dead next turn. Come on, blue card. Blue card, blue card, blue card. Okay, they just went for a value Ancestral. All right. Blue card, blue card, blue card. Damn it. I think I lose. Value Ancestral is interesting, though, because there were cards in their deck that just win the game. And here we are, shields down, Mox Ruby. Yeah, I mean, that's what I would have Demonic Tutored for, and it might have just rolled off of the Ancestral. Okay, we're dead. I needed Force to work. Ironically, keeping that Beseiju off of the first Atraxa gives me some protection versus Breach, but I also wouldn't have had any mana. Yeah, weird opening hand into a terrible Atraxa is kind of what sealed my fate here. And just continuing to demonstrate the Oath problem. I went off on turn 1. I did what I was supposed to do. My opponent is now on turn 3 and going to kill me easily. Because their combo wins the game when they play it and mine doesn't. Though, I do have Gaia's Blessing in my deck, so my opponent has to beat that. Which is not hard to do. Like, what you have to do, I guess it depends on what resources they have available, but they should have their whole deck available, so what are we even talking about? Generally, what you have to do is brain freeze your opponent until they hit the Gaia's Blessing, and then you counter your own brain freeze, and then play it over the top. Like, because the real brain freeze is at the bottom of all this triggers. So you let the triggers stack, mill your opponent until they hit the Blessing, and then from there, counter your own original brain freeze, play it again over the top, mill the rest of their deck, and then Ancestral Recall over the top of that, targeting your opponent. That's how you beat a Blessing or an Emrakul kind of thing. There's also a Time Vault in this deck. Like, they could also just be targeting yourself until you come up with Vault Key. All right, some brain freeze is targeting me. There's the Gaia's Blessing. Now my opponent knows that's something they have to beat. There goes my graveyard. With 11 cards in deck, they do have to come up with a way to win. Like, I will not concede to Time Vault Key with 11 cards in the deck and a 7/7 in play. Like, they do need to kill me with those last 10 cards in their deck. But they do have what they need to do the line I just described. All right, Brain Freeze is targeting me. And this White Border Brain Freeze. The extra tilt. This thing sucks so bad. All right, here goes my deck again. It's not my whole deck. It's just a bunch of it. If Gaia's Blessing happens to be in my bottom 3 cards, then they don't even need to do the counter Ancestral trick. They could just Ancestral me in response to the trigger. But I do get milled 3 cards at a time, unlike Grindstone, which takes them all at once. All right, there's the Blessing. So they do have to do the trick. Wow. All right. It resolved. And they have it. There's a Force of Will right there in the graveyard. I wonder if there's also a Tendrils in this deck. That would be so sick. And they're just building Storm with Brain Freeze right now. It kind of looks like they're trying to just get lucky and have Blessing be in the bottom 3 cards, which is not what you need to do here. Or even in like the bottom 6 or 9 cards, they could just Ancestral me 3 times in a row. Which means I should probably turn off my auto yields if that's the plan, because if I hit a blue card off Force and can fight over this, that's good. 14 cards, 11 cards. Uh-oh, we are going to be sub 9 cards here. Oh god, 8 cards. Okay, 5 cards left. 2 Ancestrals does kill me, if that's what they're trying to do. I hope there are still blue cards in my deck, I guess. Ancestral targeting me. Okay, well, that's actually really good. Not only 2 blue cards, but a red blast. All right, counter target blue spell. Red blast that. And they only have cards in the graveyard to Ancestral 1 more time, and they just exiled Force. Mental misstep. God, this is going to work. Yeah, they have exactly enough cards to Ancestral me. If Gaia's Blessing was just in the top 10 cards instead of the bottom 10, I win this game. And just because, yeah, it's just like randomly there. Weird. All right, yeah, that's not how you do that, but it did work this time. Okay, I thought we had it. Null Rod's Force of Vigor is coming in. Force of Negation, Mindbreak Trap. Even Ravenous Trap has some juice on it here. I'm not bringing in a lot of them if I bring in any. I don't think I want Ren and 6 here. Matchup's too fast for that. I kind of like the idea of shaving some of my Moxen when I have so many Null Rods in my deck, even though I don't love being slower on mana against decks that are good at going really fast. Lightning Bolt doesn't seem important. All right, here's my cards. Do I want to turn like an Oath into a Show and Tell? Something like that. I don't think so. Sarah's Emissary giving me protections from instants makes it really hard for them to win the game. But I don't think I need to do that. All right, this is my plan. Let's go. Don't have room for graveyard hate. Maybe I can shave 1 Oath for 1 Ravenous Trap. Oath is not a card I want to draw 2 of. One graveyard hate. Okay, a pretty hateful opening hand. I will keep it. I'm going to slam this Vexing Bauble. I know it turns off a bunch of my interaction, but it doesn't turn off a bunch of my other interaction, and it's really hard for them to kill me on turn 1 through a Vexing Bauble. Yeah, just a tap land deal. I'd love to draw Forbidden Orchard right now. There we go. Now we're cooking. Okay, on the draw. What changes? I don't think I'm interested in Consigned to Memories. Yeah, I mean, I think what I've got here is still what I've got here. And it is what it is. Let's go. All right, I have Force Blue card. I have Vexing Bauble again, but it's on the draw and my land comes into play tap. I think I am going to keep this. Breach can go fast, but it is more of a control combo deck. Soul Ring. Cool. All right, the plan is coming together here. I'm just going to try to Turbo Oath. All right, there's an Ancestral. Maybe I'll do that instead. And then set up Oath the turn after. Stock up is fine. Anything that doesn't kill me is a deal. So I'm drawing Ancestral here. How do I want to do this? I could just jam Oath with Force backup. I could play Vexing Bauble, then cast Ancestral. That turns off Force going into their turn. But their deck's not very good at functioning under Vexing Bauble. All right, yeah, something's happening here. Spell Pierce. All right, I'll Ancestral myself in response here. Then we can decide what kind of fight I want to have. Force pitching PO. Force pitching Oko. I think Oko's worse than Treasure Cruise right now. Hell yeah. All right, Black Lotus. Cast Oath. And then pass with Force Protection. Green, green, green. Oath. Ship it. All right, here we go. That's some high power magic. I don't think I fight over stock up. If they follow up, like this deck can't play Grafdigger's Cage or anything like that because they need their graveyard for their own combo. Opal, land, and we're headed to my turn where Oath is going to trigger. All right, we're in here. Untapping with the Red Blast feels really good. Trigger Oath. Milled some stuff I don't care about. Big Atraxa hit. Okay, Oko, Red Blast, Null Rod. I think I want Wasteland if I'm going to be Null Rodding. Wasteland or Strip Mine's better. No, they're the same. I boarded out Wrenn and 6, and my opponent doesn't have any basics in play. Okay. These cards are in my hand now. Show and Tell. I'm not going to cast that. I'm just going to play Null Rod here and save the Wasteland for later. Cutting off half their mana and their entire combo while leaving up as much protection as I can muster is the way to do this. Not to try to do it all at once. Counter target blue spell. They get another Spirit, which means I get another Atraxa. One card in hand. Force in mine. Good luck, your turn. Got a Surveil in the end step. They're looking for a miracle here. Dumped Misty Rainforest. That's not the one that's going to save them. All right, we got a GG's. They said the sequencing on that Vexing Bauble turn really got them. Yeah, that was a fun turn. Like bait with Vexing Bauble, which I kind of was indifferent whether it was in play or not. Resolved the Ancestral. Them countering Bauble. Unlocked the Lotus I drew into. And then we just did it all. I've been saying a lot about how Oath is a slower combo deck to pay off when it combos. And this is 2 rounds in a row where I did what I was supposed to do and my opponent just went over the top of me in at least one game. But also, it's a vintage deck. It's got some messed up draws, and it's got the control aspect, the Null Rod, the pile of Red Blast, the pile of Forces. If you're doing anything behind the 7/7, and we see the appeal of this deck, for sure. All right, on to the next one.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Receivables has it at youtube.com/thereceivables.
I'm on the draw for round 4, no Lurrus revealed. Force blue card, not much else. Brainstorm is pretty great if I don't have to use this Force on turn 1. I'm going to try this. The non-Lurrus decks are the ones that tend to Force check you. Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith, looks like some Raker shops over there, perhaps. But I did not have to Brainstorm. Let's see if I get another blue card. I don't. I think it is likely I'm going to have to cast Force of Will this turn, so I'm going to develop Scalding Tarn and try to get at least some selection out of a Surveil land. This could also be Jewel Shops. Some sort of combo shops. The card Coveted Jewels on this deck. I'll try to counter it. The counter worked. Soporific Spring, zap that in. Grim Monolith, round 2. That means they still have 6 mana next turn, even if I wasteland them. Okay, I'm going to get Hedge Maze. Force of Will. Oh. I have to put that in the graveyard because it is simply not moving my game forward. All right, I'm going to waste the Ancient Tomb and hope that we get a chance here. Awkward to bin Force and then pass the turn with 5 mana in play. But I didn't know I'd have 5 mana when I bin the Force, and I wouldn't have had it if I did. All right, a second Jewel from 1 card in hand. They could flip their deck here. They could whiff. All right, the third Jewel. Less likely that they're going to whiff now. Mana Crypt. That's enough to cast Paradoxical Outcome that I will concede to. All right, Phyrexian Metamorph. All right, we're good. That'll draw the rest of their deck. Okay, another horrendous matchup, 3 in a row, paired in 2. Which is why Oath is not a big part of the metagame right now. But let's see if we can steal a third one from a third horrendous matchup. Wrenn and 6, too slow. Lightning Bolt doesn't do anything. I think in this matchup I have to leave my Moxen in. Mental Misstep, Cataxian Probe, I can live without. Vexing Bauble, I think hurts me more than helps me here. I'm bringing in a bunch of Null Rods, which are doing that work, and I have a bunch of Forces. They have a bunch of free stuff, of course, but they also have workshops to cast it, to cast other stuff. Sarah's Emissary on Artifact, is that something I want access to? I think I just want to guarantee Atraxa if I get to ever trigger an Oath. Okay, we got to play pretty heavy control here. Force of Vigor, I should probably have that in too. Is my plan to lock them out with Wrenn and 6? Like, what if I just have less Oath, more Wrenn? I probably have to shave my Moxen if I'm doing this, and I just said I want them to cast Null Rod earlier, more often, but that might not actually make sense because I've just boarded in 4 more ways to survive turn 1. Okay, I think I do want Wrenn and 6. Like, Null Rod plus looping Wasteland until I can take infinite turns with Time Walk is a win con. Alright, I'll try this. Show and Tell is really dangerous because they have permanents that are better than Atraxa. I will keep. I do wish that there was a blue card here. I am going to force check them. Please resolve, please resolve, please resolve. I hate Magic. Force pitching Paradoxical Outcome. And I would have fought over that if I could. So they know I don't have Force of Will right now. They might have to suspect Force of Negation or Mindbreak Trap or those sort of things. Mystic Forge. Yeah, that card's really good. How far is it going? Exiled a card. Alright, we're getting a chance. Another Null Rod off the top. Boseiju. That's actually sick. Strip Mine, the Workshop, and Boseiju, the Mystic Forge. They might have an island, they might not. Okay, they don't have one. Great. That was a pretty good follow-up. I still don't have Force if they follow up again. Wrenn and 6 buying back Strip Mine is part of the plan here. Mana Vault, that's 4 mana again. That's one of the important numbers. Alright, red source. Deck, red source, please. Just give me a fetch land. Oh my god. Alright, well, we're going to be behind the 8 ball here. I do have a Force now, and they do need another stable mana source before Urza Saga makes 2 constructs. But if they tutor Manifold Key at the tail end, that's not great for me either. Alright, just making a construct immediately. Metamorphing out another construct. I could counter that. I think I have to, actually. All right, yep. Force that. Now it's too late for Ren. Deck. Yeah, went all in on that Null Rod, which they had the answer for, and then multiple follow-ups. Like the same game without Urza Saga, I think I'm okay in. Obviously, hitting a red source would have been great at any point. Now they can make a construct, tutor a key that untaps Mana Vault forever. Now I actually do want to draw just Oath of Druids. Do I have time for that? I'm taking 5 right now. I'm taking at least 10 next turn. I do have time for 1 Oath right now off the top. Another Ancient Tomb. Oh, great. All right, cool. Yep. That's the Jewel Shops experience, folks. On to the next round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 5. Positive record locked, bread and butter 4-1 on the line. Another non-Luris. People just did not seem to get the memo that that card is the most broken Magic card in history. But my hand is Nutso Busto. Mox Sapphire, Volcanic Island, Vexing Bauble, Ancestral Myself, and pass. Let's hope Vexing Bauble is good against what they're doing. Wasteland, sure. That's not the game you want to play against me. But if it's the best game you've got, then you got to do what you got to do. Thundering Falls, looking for a green source. Got one. Actually, the best one. So this has to be Shops or Initiative. All right, it's Initiative. And they're basically completely dead, and there's not a thing they can do about it. Orchard, give you a pal, Oath, pass. The Time Walk's already in my hand. I could have even wastelanded them that turn and just made the game take forever. Caracas, all right, that'll buy them some time. Void Mirror doesn't matter. Oh, they tapped out of Caracas, now they won't have any time. In Time Walk is the punish, but I do have it. All right, let's party. Target you with Oath. Yes, I'd like to use the ability. Atraxa shows me Oath, Lotus, Wasteland. I don't want Atraxa. I will take Force. Done. Draw for turn. Waste the Caracas. All right, cool. We finally got a good matchup after one of the most hostile leagues imaginable. But a hostile league that we are ahead in. All right, Null Rod comes out, Rending Volley comes in, Dismember comes in. Mindbreak Trap is actually okay against them on the draw. Force of Negation can stunt their development. I don't know that I need to worry about that so much. Red Blast, Mental Misstep are all coming out. I like Ren. Narset doesn't do a lot, but she is blue. I'm currently cutting more cards than I'm bringing in. I guess I want Show and Tell then. It's Show and Tell or Consign as the bonus card. I think I want Show and Tell. Oh, I definitely want Sarah's Emissary in versus this deck. And Show and Tell is part of that package. On the play, I would have Consigns in over these Force of Negations, but on the draw, just buying an extra turn can be really important. Yeah, I guess it's Narset. She just doesn't do anything here. All right, cool. Force of Vigor has some application, but Force of Vigor can't destroy Void Mirror, which creates a weird bubble of that's one of the cards I'd like to destroy. All right, a phenomenal matchup where we took game 1, which means even if we lose this game, we get one more on the play. Let's try to convert this one. Force Wasteland, Wasteland. Not exactly thrilling here. I do like the Show and Tell. If I can mess up their mana, that's good. Like if I can force a Mana Crypt or Soul Ring and then waste their next 2 lands, they might not play for a while. And I do have Show and Tell Atraxa, but I don't have blue mana to start this party. I'll keep this for science. I probably would not keep this at Eternal Weekend. All right, Chancellor of the Annex. They've got a Chancellor start on the play. This will probably be hard to beat no matter what my opening hand is. Black Lotus. I would have forced that if I could, but Chancellor would counter it. And this is why you counter the artifact, because the land might make your spell uncounterable. Cavern on Human. Seasoned Dungeoneer. All right, let's try it. I am a deck that can chug through this, theoretically. Dismember is actually a sick draw. I do need to break the Chancellor bubble somehow. Yeah, that sucks. Now Dismember doesn't work. All right, yeah. I don't think I'm supposed to force the Lotus just to break the Chancellor bubble, not knowing that I had Dismember coming. Thalia. All right, I'm not winning this game. Okay. on the play, I'll bring these consigns in and cut these forces. And now it's my time to shine. Submit my deck, let's go. I can stock up immediately. All right, I will keep this. I can probe stock up. I get to see 6 cards before I even pass my first turn. This can push through Chancellor trigger. They don't have Chancellor. Might just board it out on the draw. Probe you. We've got Dungeoneer, Archon, Witch Enchanter, Wasteland, Mox Pearl, Vexing Bauble. All right, I'm going to cast Stock Up, Force of Will, and Oko, or Oath. Oath. Yeah, it's Oath. Witch Enchanter's a little awkward. Am I going to force the Vexing Bauble? I mean, I could just take Oath Oko and build a different plan and not mess with Force. It's definitely Oath, and I think I will take the Oko. Oath Oko. Do I want Blessing above or below Atraxa? I'm going to shuffle it immediately anyway. It doesn't matter. All right. I can set up a Wrenn and 6 here to hit my land drops forever under this Wasteland. Mox Pearl. Like, they could just go Bauble, Wasteland, pass here. And I'm playing around that with the Wrenn. All right, draw for turn. Fetch. I'll get Trop. Play Volk. Green-red. Wrenn. Having the Wrenn encourages them to just try to develop, and then Oath can cook them. Like, they might have needed Wasteland anyway to play the game. They don't have a lot of mana in their hand. But that could change. If they play Ancient Tomb right now, that's actually really bad for me, because that gets Seasoned Engineer going and shows Witch Enchanter for next turn to blow up my Oath. I'd love to see this Witch Enchanter just come in as a land. All right, there is the Witch Enchanter as a land. White Plume Adventurer. That means there is 1 unknown in their hand, but they are going to have 4 mana next turn, unless I draw Wasteland, which would be great. But now I have Oath. Rending Volley. Interesting. Okay. Polluted Delta. Fetch. Volcanic Island. Oath of Druids. Get back Polluted Delta, and pass. The Rending Volley is a fun little thing because I don't want to kill their creature because an Oath doesn't work, but I also don't want to be taking 5. All right, I really hope one of the 2 unknowns in their hand is not Witch Enchanter. That would actually start to be a problem. They can kill Wrenn here, but that is now the least of their problems. Cavern. Cavern on human. All right, they could just aggressively ram into the dungeon here. Like, if they play again, they immediately go into the trap. Okay, the trap puts me to 11. They attack me to 6. This can target a cleric. I am going to rend this Seasoned Dungeoneer before they get an Explore trigger. Okay, so I'm going to trigger. I'm going to get an Atraxa, guaranteed, and I can follow up with Oko. Time Walk's still in my deck, but I am under real pressure here. All right, your White Plume untaps. Atraxa comes in. Big trigger. Consign to Memory, Beseiju. The artifacts don't matter because of the Bauble. Forbidden Orchard could keep the party rolling on Oath, which might be necessary here. Okay, I think I want Consign. I'll take the Sapphire just to get it out of the mix. And is it Beseiju or is it Strip Mine? Or is it Orchard? I think it's Orchard. Okay, a pretty weak Atraxa, all in all, but it still plays. Atraxa in my hand, certainly not what I wanted. I could add Oko to the board here, make their White Plume worse. I could stock up. I can't play this Sapphire. I mean, I can, it would just die to be countered by the Bauble. Oh, Time Walk's in my graveyard. Did I just mill that? Oh, it was the top card in my deck. All right, that's disappointing. So Time Walk's out of the mix, at least for now. How do I survive this turn? Elking White Plume doesn't matter. Elking Vexing Bauble doesn't help me. All right, well, I'm playing Orchard. And the problem is this Wasteland, if they do have a removal spell, like if they just have Karakas or Swords to Plowshares in their hand, they win. And Oko doesn't stop that from happening. I guess I'll plus Wrenn on Wasteland. Vexing Bauble doing the Lord's work here. Yeah, I guess I just pass and hope I'm not dead. We know 2 of their 3 cards in hand don't matter. It's a tight one. I could counter this draw trigger. I don't think I'm going to do that. I can beat Solitude with the Consign. Okay. Emergency card draw. That's a good sign for me. It's still bad if they rip Gracchus. Oh, wow, that was tight. But we did it. Okay. A pretty good league, actually. 4-1 result with this sweet take on Oath. Ren 6 was actually a major player in multiple matches. Did some cool stuff. While Oath was important in other matches. We had an insane run of 3 terrible matchups in a row, but we did steal it against 2 of them. I'm going to call that a success. And we got to showcase what happens when it's not a bad matchup. And like that game 1 versus White Initiative was just completely free. Basically just show them that I'm on Oath and we go to the sideboard. There's definitely room to tune here, like the number of Rens. This Narset is probably fine, even though she never came up in my games. The number of red elemental blasts or pyroblasts you're playing is probably fluctuable, changeable. You could change it. But yeah, this was a solid outing. We did some vintage stuff. We stopped some vintage stuff from happening, and I'm quite happy with this. Claire, thank you for asking me to play it. I hope this was fun to watch. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.